Down at the bottom of your desktop, you are going to see a purplish icon with the words AN, the letters AN on it. Click on it, that is animate. The first time it opens for you, it's not going to be as fast as it is showing right now on my screen. You're probably going to have some messages about fonts. Just skip them. You do not need to download anything to have this work. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click on New File. When you click on New File, you should get a menu that looks like this. We're going to choose HD, not full HD, not 4K, not standard. These two are very high in memory and standard is low, so we're going to keep it in between and we're just going to click HD so you have this little blue outline on there. And it should have all these measurements already done for you, 1280, height is 720, and our frame rate is 30 frames per second. You will have action script selected and you are going to hit create. When that happens, you see this big white rectangle. This is your stage. This is where all the action happens. You have a timeline down here. You can see it says layer 1, just like in Photoshop. You can have multiple layers. This is how you add a new layer. There's things like, putting things in groups. There's trash. There's lock. There's to show, visibility, all the stuff that is very similar to Photoshop and other Adobe products. Over here is your toolbar. You have your move tool or your selection tool. It's both in this case. We also have a transformation tool. We have lasso, similar. We have a rectangle tool, line tool, pen tool. Remember, I taught you vector for a reason because in animate we have not only fill, but we have stroke, and you need to know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. So this is our stage. Like I said, you can create things off stage so that they can come on stage. Things can move that way. And then you have your properties. And in your properties, you will have like your measurements, you'll have, frame properties, and you'll have tool properties. Right now, there's nothing. This is just about our document, and there's nothing on our stage. It's just a white rectangle. First thing we're going to do in Animate is change the color of our stage. Change it to any color that you want by clicking on that white square in your properties, and then I'm going to pick something like a light blue. Okay, we're going to leave it at 30 frames per second, and we are good. We're ready to start. So this is your timeline. You also have a play thing. There's nothing to play right now, so if I hit return, it does absolutely nothing. All we have is our blank stage, which we're going to change. How do we know it's blank? It's very hard to see this here, but the first frame has a clear circle in it. So for instance, if I was to insert just a frame, let's go to frame number 5, and you don't have to do this, just watch. If I go to timeline, insert timeline, and I just put a frame on there, I still have nothing, okay? So now you can see that clear circle. Okay, so I'm just going to undo my last actions. So anytime that you want to do something, you have to insert, anytime you want an action, you don't have to insert a frame. A frame is going to keep everything the same. If you want an action to happen, you're going to insert a keyframe. First thing we're going to do though is create something on frame number 1. So let's go to our rectangle tool, and we're not going to choose any of the other ones, just the rectangle tool. And it's going to be orange and black outline. It could be any color you want, but that's where my color is right now. So I'm just going to make a rectangle. I have to select this rectangle in order to move it. So actually, that went a little strange. Let me just undo that because I put a frame there, and let me just delete this. New frames, so that it works in the same time frame as you did. So I'm going to go to frame number 1. I have one single frame, and I'm just going to make up a rectangle. Okay, so I have to select this rectangle. So I'm going to go to my selection tool or my move tool. If I just click on the object and I go to move it, the stroke doesn't move with it. So in order to select the entire object, I have to click away from the object and drag an invisible box or boundary around the object, and now I can move this with the stroke. So I need something to happen. Not this, otherwise this is just a boring frame. I'm going to go to frame 5. I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to my timeline, and I'm going to insert, not a frame, because a frame won't do anything. It'll just extend the time that I look at this boring orange triangle. I'm going to go to a keyframe, and then I'm going to move this rectangle in that frame. So to show you what just happened, I'm going to hit play. Okay, so it starts at 1 and then it moves there. Now I'm going to go to frame 10. Remember, animation is very repetitive so that we can have things happen. I'm going to go to Insert, Timeline, Keyframe, and I'm going to move it again. This time I'm going to take it a little bit off. Then I'm going to go to 15, and instead of doing Insert, going all the way up to the menu, I'm just going to right-click. And the way you right-click, you hold down Control, right-click, and you see you get your right-click menu. And then I insert keyframe and I move this. I'm going to do this all the way up until I hit 20. I insert a keyframe and then I move it. I can move it on the stage, off the stage, insert keyframe, move it. And I'm going to do this until I get to 50. I'm going to do 50 frames. Okay. I know I showed the class a different way yesterday. We're going to do it this way. This is the way we're supposed to do it. And where's my insert keyframe? Oh, I need to click on the keyframe that I need to insert. So there I am making mistakes, which is good. Learn from my mistakes. Click on the next frame, insert keyframe, move it. Click on the next frame, I'm almost done. Click on insert keyframe, move it. And the last one is number 50. Insert keyframe and move it. So when I hit play now, you're going to see this rectangle is going to keep moving all around the stage. All right, that's the end of part 1. We will continue with part 2 in 1 minute.